Let me say welcome to tonight's Municipal Authority meeting for August 8, 2022. We will now have the invocation and flag salute. Let us stand. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you so much for this day. God, we thank you for being God and God alone. Father, I'm just so grateful that you have led this city through the divine providence of your Holy Spirit for 150 years. And Father, I pray, oh God, that as we go forward, Lord, looking forward to the next 150, not necessarily for our generation, Lord, but for generations to come. For you said in your word that a wise man plans for his children's children. And I pray, oh God, that the things that we do as a council, Father, may be a precedent, not just for ourselves, oh God, but that future generations will be happy and excited to call Muskogee home. And Father, we pray that the words of our mouth and meditation of our heart be acceptable in your sight. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let us look to the flag. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hoos.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
We will now consider item number 1.
Consider approval of MMA minutes of July 11th, 2022, or take other necessary action.
The minutes appear before us in our packet on tonight. Are there any corrections to the minutes, or do we have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on item number 1? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Here. Yes, I'm sorry.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed. Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of MMA claims for the month ending July 31, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, these are the normal claims for the month of July, and staff recommends approval.
Do we have any questions or concerns about the claims, or we will entertain a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Further discussion. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, item 2 passes. Item number 3.
Consider approval of the plans for chemical feed improvements at the water treatment plant and the raw water pump station located at Fort Gibson Dam, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reeves.
This project will be paid for by the State Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. The chemicals that are related to this project basically control zebra mussels. So what we're doing is we're moving the chlorine dioxide from the dam to the water plant, and we're installing a copper sulfate feed system at the dam that will actually help control the zebra mussels at that location. So both of them will control the zebra mussels at 2 different locations along the way, and hopefully keep our lines clean, our water lines clean. So please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Do we have any questions for Mr. Reeves, or what is the pleasure of the body?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 3. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, item 3 passes. That will conclude the Muskogee Municipal Authority. We will now call to order the meeting of the Muskogee City Council for August 8, 2022. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hoos.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
We will now consider approval of the minutes for the City Council Special Call Session July 18, 2022, and regular session July 25, 2022, or take other necessary action. We have the minutes in our packets on tonight. Do we have any corrections to the minutes, or is there a motion to proceed?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the said minutes. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. We have now considered the consent agenda, which consists of items numbers 1 through 15. Are there any items that need to be moved to the regular session, or do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. I will now make a motion that we move item number 3 in the regular agenda to be discussed first in tonight's meeting.
Move for approval.
What did I
That
say?
was
second.
item 23.
23.
Item number 23, what did I say?
3.
3, 23, 2-3, 2-3, period. Do we have we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 23.
Consider the appointment of Perlin Boyati Craig as Ward 3 Counselor effective August 9th, 2022, to serve until the next regular election in accordance with City Charter 206, filling the vacancy in said council seat created by the resignation of Ivory Van as Ward 3 Counselor, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Van.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Before I get started with this video, can I introduce you to y'all my sons?
Absolutely.
Michael, Ivory, can y'all come in here? And Kylie, my granddaughter. These are my sons that used to come up here when I was little. Come on up here. Come on up here to the front, to the mic. My oldest son is Ivory, named after me. This is my other son, Michael. I'm very proud of him. And this is Kylie, his girlfriend, and this is my little granddaughter, one of them. But those little fellows used to sit with me right there in those pews in 2005. Thank y'all for coming. I'm ready, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
You can start the video. Picture of Miss. Sorry about that, Ron Walker. There's so many when you go through stuff. Well, thank y'all for putting it on there, though. I done this because I wanted y'all to see my family. I wanted to see my life, outside this chair here. And I just wanted you to see also the community, the Kendall District. And I'll definitely introduce Ms. Boyati Craig to the Kendall District if she gets elected tonight to take my place. Because that district over there, there's one district I go to, they 4th of July party every single year since I've been on the council. And other things I'll introduce her to that she don't know about. But it's all about serving our community. And I've enjoyed serving the citizens of Muskogee. And the way I am, and every councilman is different. That don't matter, but this is the way I am. And I tell y'all all the time up here, when somebody calls my phone, I always go see who that person is, and I take a look at the job before I put the work order in. And when I put the work order in, when I go back, you can ask Mr. Stewart or any department head in here, Parks, Street, whatever, I always go back and make sure they done it right, to my standards. Because I know things when they look good. I like things dressed up and neat. As you can tell, and I meant to tell you down there, that flag right there, that's my father's flag. He got that when he was in the Army in World War II. And this here is the decorations from the lady downstairs that works at the desk named Sandy. These are her decorations up here. So I believe when I go do things, I believe in doing things neatly and in order. So I just, I know I took a little time. And I left out one person, Brother Gentry. Also, he goes to Rayfield Baptist Church. He's a deacon of ours. Tell Brother Gentry. For this magnificent video, you know who you can give the credit to. That's Mr. Calvin Brown. Stand up, Mr. Calvin Brown. So when I leave out of this chamber tonight, I'll say that I've done my best. And I know any councilman, the mayor up here, you're going to always have people criticize you no matter what you do. But I can say, I honestly tried to do the best I could to serve all the constituents of Muskogee, Oklahoma. And since they wasn't, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna move right along. Since they wasn't here in the beginning, I like all my 4 children to stand and my granddaughter, and Kylie. Stand up, I know y'all a little shy. My son tonight, I won this last time. He said, "Boy, that was close, Daddy." He said, "Boy, I thought I was gonna lose." He got to have my same name. He thought he's gonna lose. But I want to thank everybody again for coming out tonight, and thank my family for coming, and thank you, Pam, for coming. My baby sitting out there with that white mask on, looking good tonight. You know you're my baby. So to get down to business, I know Ms. Boyati Craig a long time, and she was my campaign manager. I guess I'm gonna stand up on this. Can y'all hear me? She was my campaign manager ever since 2014. She helped me, and we didn't raise a lot of money. I didn't want people to give me money to run for city council. And I had Mr. Larry Hoffman. He gave me $200 the very first time. And I said, "Mr. Hoffman, I'm not gonna spend your money." So what we done, I won that 2014 election, but we took that money and we went to the Gospel Rescue Mission and brought those people some food. My second term, I had to spend just a little bit of money to send those flyers around, but it wasn't much. In my last term here, I spent probably $200, and I put a little ad in the paper. I wasn't putting no signs or nothing. If people don't know who Ivory Van is now, they won't know. So but God put me in this position here in this seat through the constituents in Ward 3, and that's why I'm here today, because of God, nobody else. Because, like I say, I come from a background in Midland Valley where we were considered the lower class and poor and everything, but it don't matter. God can lift you up. He lifted me up. And I'm not no better than anybody else, but I come a long, long, mighty long way. And in that song that played, I'm blessed, just last week, I had my phone, I was going like that, and I don't know what happened, but this song just came on my phone. That same song, and I didn't do nothing. But I consider myself as being very blessed. So again, Ms. Pearline Boyati Craig, she's the person that I want to take this seat up here between her and Pam and my kids that has backed me the whole time that I've been coming to City Council since 2014 for re-election. So I want to make a motion that Pastor Emeritus Pearline Boyati Craig replace me as Ward 3 City Councilor in my seat up here. I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 23 on tonight. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones,
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Praise the Lord, yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. The item passes.
I turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Van, and congratulations to Councilor incumbent Pearline Boyati. Those who would like to remain during the meeting, you are certainly welcome to stay. If you'd like to leave the room, we'll call for a 5-minute recess. We'll entertain a 5-minute motion for a 5-minute recess.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to recess for 5 minutes for those who would like to leave. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones,
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, we will reconvene in 5 minutes. We will now reconvene from our recess. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hoos.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here. Item number 16.
Hold a public hearing and consider the appeal of the denial of a specific use permit submitted by Tori Sanders and Daryl Anderson Logan to allow for a medical marijuana cultivation/grow within the C2 General Commercial District, more specifically, a property located at 215 South B Street, or take other necessary action.
We will now open the public hearing. Ms. Bodenhammer.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an application for a specific use permit for a medical marijuana grow facility filed by Troy Sanders. The property is located at 215 South B Street. This is an aerial shot of where the proposed building will be. It is zone C2, and if you can see around it, the green area is public property. The yellow in the front is R2. The gray are all industrial zoned areas, and the orange are all C2. The lot improvements, he has put in some paved area foundation and has started the building. As you can see, construction is underway. These are more shots of the proposed site for the building. Staff does recommend approval based on the proper zoning, the surrounding industrial zone area, and the commercial areas. This item went before Planning Commission on August 1st of this year. Planning unanimously denied the application based on concerns about the state moratorium going into effect. Mr. Sanders has appealed this and is here to speak tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Bodenhammer. Mr. Sanders, if you'll come to the microphone and give us your name and your address. And you may address the council.
Hello, I'm Troy Sanders. My property is 215 South B Street. And today I'm here to stand in front of you, ask for your approval for a specific use permit. As a small-time business owner, it's been hard, but I continue to preserve. I purchased the land in the summer of 2020 before the specific use permit went into place, and I started the building process in 2021. And I had help from the planning department of City of Muskogee from Ms. Tish, I guess, who no longer works here. And today I'll be going over odor control, building, and how DMF plan to help the community. Odor control. We'll be using the air wash system. It's an air and surface purifier. So unlike the old filtration systems that pull air from outside and push it back outside, it's more or less of a reactive oxygen species. So it kills the problem where it starts. The smell that cannabis lets off is airborne terpenes. And so air wash, what it does is kills the species before it makes the smell to spread outdoors. And that's one of our biggest plans that we put into place. And that's why we went for new construction. So new construction allow us to do a grow facility sealed, closed loop systems, pest control, and environmental control, and odor control, which we planned for because we knew we were kind of in the inner city limits. So we planned to do new construction so we could control odor and have a sealed grow environment. Helping the community. Our goal is to help the community grow and prosper in extraordinary ways by paying local taxes, which bring more revenue back into the community. That additional revenue means more money for improvements of city roads, schools, and other needs, creating more jobs to encourage more people to stay in the area. This not only allows people to work closer to home, but also improve the quality of life of the community, increasing revenue, creating a more self-sustainable community, connecting the community together. And these who tend to work locally, shop locally, and they don't have to commute from Muskogee. So as DMF, I'm here on their behalf, which I'm the owner, to ask you, can you please approve the specific use permit? Thank you.
Thank you. Before we close the public hearing, do we have any comments from the council? We will now close the public hearing. This is an appeal for the denial of the specific use permit that has been addressed to us as a council. We'll entertain discussion on what is the pleasure of the body.
Mr. Mayor, maybe recognize.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Boldenham, you just said that one approved it and one denied. Can you say that again in your report?
Yes, ma'am. So all 4 members, or 5 members who were present in Planning Commission did vote to deny this based on the state moratorium that's going into effect.
Which is the state saying no more businesses? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, ma'am. The state has said that effective August 26th of 2022, there will be a moratorium or a ban on any new licenses being issued for marijuana on the state side.
But this potential customer of ours is had their application in since when?
He just recently filed his application. He has been working with, or was working with Tish Callahan for, I think, over a year to get this into place. And when he found out the moratorium was going to go into effect, he went ahead and filed his application for a city permit. He still will have to get approval from the state and get his state license if he's approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding item number 16, or what is the pleasure of the body?
I move for approval, or move to deny the specific use permit.
We have a motion to deny the specific use permit.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second on item number 16 to deny the issuance of the specific use permit. Do we have any other discussion from the council? Roll call.
Yes. That's yes to deny?
Correct.
Right,
A yes is a no.
right. A yes is a no. Okay.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
No.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
No.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the request is denied. Item number 17.
Receive report from the Muskogee City County Port Authority regarding their industrial development projects, goals, and activities for 2022, and take other necessary action.
Ms. Swayze?
Good evening, Mayor. The contract with the Port Authority calls for regular updates twice a year on their activities for development, specifically industrial development in our community, and their staff is here to make a presentation.
Welcome to our guest. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of council. I'm actually here tonight to introduce Jeff Underwood, Deputy Director, Industrial Development, and Darla Heller, Deputy Director of Workforce Development. They are a great team. They represent the city, the county very well. We're very proud of the success they've seen this past year.
Thank you. Mr. Underwood.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Councilman Van, congratulations. Just job well done, sir. I mean, for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for the opportunity to provide an update on industrial development efforts this year. I would tell you that we have worked diligently as a team to conduct ourselves in the utmost professional manner that we can, providing the best opportunity to win new projects, as well as bring new jobs and revenue to the city. Tonight, I want to share just a few of those highlights for you guys with my colleague, Darla Heller. This packet that's before you, this presentation, I will tell you, Kimber did point out there was one typo that I had in here. It was already made. That being said, that typo is not on the cover. What you're reading here, we are ranked number 2 in the state of Oklahoma out of 77 counties for new capital investment in 2022. And we are ranked number 8 in the state for new jobs created in 2022. So really exceptional. Thank you. If you guys look at the first page there, flipping that over, it says request for proposals. Year to date, it's actually 30, not 29. So we've had 30 of those requests come through. That comes through the State Department of Commerce as well as our regional partners in Tulsa Futures. Those partnerships really are invaluable to us. They're able to bring those quality leads, allows us to have that opportunity to tell Muskogee's story as a multimodal global port city with a dedicated workforce and a community ready to partner for success. In breakdown of those 30 RFPs, we actually submitted formal presentations for 27 of those. And out of those 27, 17 are still pending. 10 of those we did lose. That's the name of the game. You throw enough spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Of those 10, a lot of times they don't let us know exactly why we lost that, except to say it's a very competitive process through that. If you look on that sheet, though, there are 3 of those that we're unable to submit for, and that is due to the fact that they needed a mega site. And what I mean by mega site is they need 500 plus contiguous acres. And so that is something I would tell you as far as if we're talking about takeaways. Muskogee Forward actually put forward that recommendation that 2 things, that we establish a program for shovel-ready projects that complies with Department of Commerce's site-ready certification program, something we're certainly moving towards that direction. And as part of that strategy as well, they recommended identifying one large-scale site that we can use as for major projects as well as a marketing draw into the area. So we're actually working with local partners diligently to try to be able to locate that as well. Additionally, I wanted to point out one thing. Our team actually wrote and we were awarded an Oklahoma Targeted Opportunities Program grant by Department of Commerce. This program is created to identify available site capabilities, what industries can support a specific site, as well as the limitations, be able to do a competitive assessment on that site and make recommendations for that infrastructure gaps. We actually selected Southside Industrial Park, which is owned by the city. And we are actually working with Quest Site Solutions. They actually came in June. We took them around, showed them our industrial sites in Muskogee to get their feedback. We also had a stakeholder meeting with community folks as well. And in the months ahead, we're actually going to have feedback from them that will really serve as a roadmap there at Southside Industrial Park to know what do we need to do if there's infrastructure gaps, how do we need to fill those to really attract those potential companies, as well as what companies are those, what would be well targeted and suited for that particular location. I would tell you Quest, in alignment with Muskogee Forward, they were very clear to articulate the need for shovel-ready sites as well for us, and just noting that companies investing millions of dollars need infrastructure to support that investment. And so, again, focused on available shovel-ready sites at Southside, John T. Griffin, and the port. It does take, the state, the county, the city, the port, really takes all of us working together to make that a reality for those shovel-ready sites. We are focused on that. You can look over, flip over here to the next page, and just want to go over quickly the attraction projects for 2022. And attraction projects are companies that have selected Muskogee among the finalists in their selection process. So it could be narrowed down to 3 to 5 different locations they're looking at across the nation, but we're there. Currently it's actually 15 total projects that would fall in that pipeline. And this year we actually have won 5 of them, and those 5 were Core Scientific, YZY, Muskogee, Oaktal Location, Vicrez, and Trifera. The total capital investment of those 5 projects, about $1.3 billion. Core Scientific, course, is being the largest. They're located at John T. Griffin Industrial Park, and they are the, largest publicly traded blockchain infrastructure and software solution company in the nation. That's a mouthful. The project there, I would tell you, is rapidly moving forward in the build process and is one of the largest in the history of Muskogee County. And Eric Puckett, if you see there, the public school superintendent for Hilldale, had this to say. He said the project at John T. Griffin Industrial Park will add millions to valuation for Hilldale Public Schools. This will allow us to bond for larger projects in the future and increase our ad valorem tax base, which allows us to be less reliant on state aid for school funding, and that he believes that these projects are the beginning of many new projects and possible home building on the south side of Muskogee. Additionally, those 5 projects there, they're anticipated to create about 109 new jobs at an average salary of $51,000, which is actually well over the average Muskogee County wage. That equates to about $5.5 million in new annual payrolls when they're fully staffed. Again, these are being built out as well. We also assisted in walking these different companies through local and state incentives. A total of $626,000 was awarded through the local SIP program, and $4.6 million from the state of Oklahoma. Using software that we have called Impact Dashboard, was able to calculate the 10-year net benefit to be estimated at $47 million for these 5 projects. I would say this as far as takeaway here. Muskogee Forward, they actually recommended we target certain emerging industries that are well suited for Muskogee. Those are identified as aviation, aerospace, battery storage and electric vehicle parts, energy technology, and agriculture technology. And we are actually working, the port is, with the marketing agency to evolve our brand. And part of our effort will include marketing strategies to be able to target those emerging industries recommended by Muskogee Forward. I'd also say in support of that, I will be attending the National Business Aviation Association Conference in October, and that'll be an aviation and aerospace recruitment effort for the Muskogee Regional Davis Airport. And have extended an invite to Drew Staffel as well, the airport director. Finally here, just flipping over, looking at the retention and expansion projects. Just to review that, throughout the year, we really try to make a diligent effort as a team to be able to meet with we call them business partnership meetings, so to meet with industry. We had 38 such meetings since me and Darla have been on staff here, totaling over 140 hours. And through those meetings, we identified 15 different expansion opportunities, and 6 of those have been announced. These 6 companies are Oklahoma Interpact, Proform, Muskogee Communications, ID Transportation, Georgia Pacific, and Captive Air. The total investment for all of these is $79 million and supposed to create about 111 new jobs at an average wage of $46,000, which equates to a total annual payroll increase of $5.1 million. Additionally, again, we assisted with local incentives totaling $1 million, and state incentives we were able to get at $1.6 million in support of these projects. I would tell you, evaluating these projects, again, with Impact Dashboard software, the 10-year net benefit estimated at $7.3 million on these, and $4.3 million would be additional impact to Muskogee Public School System. So it's actually not on this page, and I won't say the names, but I do want to share that we have 2 expansion announcements coming up here probably in this month. 2 Muskogee companies, to give you a little hint, combined 200-year, they've been here for 200 years combined total. The total capital investment is going to be about $4.5 million, and they're looking to create total about 70 new jobs. So that's really good. We're able to assist them with state incentives of $650,000 on that $4.5 million, so it's a really good return for them. And we're also working on local SIPs and support for about $43,000. So all that being said, before I let Darla come up here and talk about workforce, I just want to say that it has been a very successful year for Muskogee in economic development. Even so, I would say we can't stop, we can't let up. It's something that takes consistent effort over a long time to be able to win projects. And we got to continue to focus on those shovel-ready sites that we have available, aligning our utilities and the infrastructure, community support, and industry needs, and help cultivate, again, those regional and state partnerships to really be able to go for some of those different projects. So with that, I'll let Darla come up here and speak on workforce.
I had a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
How many shovel-ready sites do we have?
So when you talk about shovel-ready sites, now we got to really drill down and go, do we have all the utilities there? Where do we have any infrastructure gaps? And so as far as we've had a successful year of winning projects, and so when we look at the Port of Muskogee, we have about 3 different sites that we have available, 2 of which are totaling about 116 acres. Those are ready to go, shovel-ready sites. We do need to get those certified with the state, and we're in that process. As well as we've got at Southside Industrial Park West, we've got a little bit of infrastructure gap to be able to get there in the way of some sewer infrastructure. And so that's something we're actually working through. I mentioned with Quest Site Solutions. And when that comes back, we'll be able to drill down a little better to know how do we get that particular location up to shovel-ready site. So in answer to your question, I would say we've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 sites that we are right there to be able to consider shovel-ready, 2 at John T. Griffin Industrial Park, and then at the Port of Muskogee, a couple there as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Underwood, you might want to comment that those are not mega sites. And for the benefit of the council as well as to those watching tonight, you may want to highlight the importance of us being able to establish mega sites to remain competitive across the state as well as the region.
Yeah, so in the state of Oklahoma, we've all heard it a million times, so I may as well say it. Mid-American Industrial Park, they are a mega site. They've got thousands of acres, but there's really not any other mega sites in the state of Oklahoma. And so it is something that could really, if we're able to get those 500-plus contiguous acres, to be able to advertise and market that as a potential mega site, those different projects and a lot of emerging industries, a lot of times that's what they're looking for. They are looking, whether that's for the battery or the EV sectors, to be able to have quite a bit of additional land to be able to put forth those type of projects. So I do think it would be a pretty incredible marketing draw. I think we're uniquely positioned for that because we do have the multimodal capabilities that we have here in Muskogee, and also having the port, being a global port city. So I do think it's something that we need to certainly look seriously into the future to acquire.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms. Heller.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, councilors, for this opportunity. To add a little bit to what Jeff talked about, you heard about all those jobs that we're working to bring here. So workforce development initiatives are how we fill those jobs. And so we see a lot of economic development entities around the state, around the nation, really put an effort towards workforce development. So you should all be commended for having an economic development entity that invests in workforce development. There are some guiding principles around what guides our workforce effort. That's what are the workforce needs, skill development, career exploration, and talent recruitment. So those are the guiding principles. I won't go into all the details on those with you, but I will give you 3 highlights over the last 6 months, 3 wins in those areas. So if you turn to the booklet and turn to the page that says Work Ready Muskogee, kind of open that up there. We are a workforce center of excellence, which means that we have the infrastructure by which to provide those big projects that Jeff was talking about, projects that would land at a mega site. In order to, we have the infrastructure built to bring workers and train those workers. So 3 highlights that we have had recently. I know maybe you guys aren't all looking at your phones as you're setting up there, but if you want to take it out at this point, you can hover over that first QR code and you can see our new job board. I think that most of you have probably seen that job board. That is something that the City of Muskogee has been sharing on social media. That's an inventory of the companies within Muskogee that are the fastest posting companies. So when this is completely built out, we'll have 100 companies on this site that will show what positions are open just in Muskogee County. So right now, as it's being built, there's about 75 businesses. There is a little mistake on it in that 1,000 jobs got through USA.gov. But right now at the VA Medical Center, there are 204 open positions just in Muskogee. So if I want to give you a little bit of analytics behind that job board, most of the jobs on there are in healthcare. We get about 400 open positions in Muskogee County in healthcare. About 350 of those open positions are in manufacturing, and some of those are temporary agencies hiring for our manufacturers. 100 open positions in education. I think you can all agree we haven't ever seen that before. 31 open positions for the City of Muskogee. A lot of the other ones are fast food retail. So this is a work in progress. If you don't see a company listed, please let me know. We'll make sure and get that rectified. The other area that I do want to draw your attention to is career awareness. This is an effort that we believe is very important to start talking to younger generations about those high demand occupations in our county. So that's healthcare and manufacturing. So last June, there's a little bit in your packet here about the STEM Educator Summit. We took about 20 teachers out to different Muskogee-based businesses so that they can learn about what jobs are open, so they can prepare, whether it's their 3rd grader, and talking about what those jobs are going to be on up to high school teachers. So that's something we will continue. We will continue with going out to talking to all ninth graders about jobs in healthcare and manufacturing. In the past, we've just done manufacturing, but we know from Muskogee Forward, that initiative that Jeff mentioned from the Muskogee, the city foundation has identified that we need to be talking about healthcare careers too. So we've kind of pivoted a little bit, and we will do that over the next year. So on October the 18th, we will volunteer. I'm going to get an army of volunteers to go out to every ninth grade class in Muskogee County. I'd like to invite you to volunteer if you'd like to help us with that effort. Just talking about careers in manufacturing, and there's about 1,000 different, about 1,000 ninth graders in our county. So that's the future of the workforce. We want to make sure that we are filling gaps with this program. We don't want to replicate. We're not going to do what Junior Achievement's doing and those kinds of things. We work very, very closely with the Muskogee County Education Consortium. They're our touchstone. So I wanted you all to know that as well. And finally, on the last page of your booklet, you'll see another QR code that you can hover over, and that's our Ready, Set, Move incentive that was launched just about 30 days ago. Many of you have seen this. This is a bold, brave move that the City of Muskogee Foundation supported in our workforce development effort. The criteria and application are on that website, and what that incentive does for hard-to-fill positions or newly created positions, the positions Jeff mentioned, and all those expanding companies and companies moving here, they need a tool in their toolbox in order to attract talent to live in the city limits of Muskogee. So what we've done is provided them an avenue, provided them that tool. So it is a $10,000 stipend for any new position or hard-to-fill position. There are criteria, and I'm not going to stand up here and go through all those criteria. But just know that our employers have that as a tool moving forward. I'm happy to answer any questions if any of you want to visit about that incentive. It's something that is unique to Muskogee. No other community in the state of Oklahoma is incentivizing hard-to-fill positions in that bold, brave way. Want to talk to you a little bit about grants. That's something that we're very dedicated to, is going out and finding how we can bring money into our programs. So USDA has allotted us some funding for a training center. You'll hear more about that in the future. And we want you to know that we are your research arm in terms of if you need demographic information, if you need workforce development data, any kind of labor market trends, let us know. We have that information at our fingertips. So at this point, I entertain any questions that you would have.
Thank you, Ms. Heller. Great presentation. Do we have any questions from the members of the council on tonight? No action is needed on this item. It was only a presentation. I want to personally thank Kimber Scott as the director. She sits behind the scenes many times, but she does a wonderful job in her leadership role. So thank you, Director Scott, and your staff. Item number 18.
Discuss and take possible action to provide a letter of support to the Muskogee Tourism Authority concerning its submission of a proposal to host the NJCAA Region Championship Basketball Tournament in Muskogee for 2023 through 2026, excuse me, as well as authorizing the interim city manager to negotiate and execute any documents necessary to attract the same, including any financial or facility commitments that may be required, or take other necessary action.
This is my item. Certainly, we are excited about what is being planned for the NJCAA Regional Championship Basketball Tournament to be held in Muskogee. They are expiring from where they are and looking for a longer-term commitment, we hope, in the city of Muskogee. This will bring the necessary traffic that we always talk about having in our city in terms of tourism. The Muskogee Tourism Department, and I certainly want to thank them for what they have done so far in meeting with Dr. Ram and myself and those members of the NJCAA to be certain that we are in a qualified position to host this event. Muskogee Tourism has allocated up to $50,000, and what is required at this time is a approval from this body to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support in support of this effort, because this will be a win for us in terms of tourism. It will be a win for us in terms of our community. It will be a win in terms of Muskogee being put on spotlight in a positive light. And having said that, I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 19.
Consider approval to engage Holloway, Updike, and Bellin for engineering services related to the West Muskogee Street Overlay Project from Main Street to 17th Street, an amount not to exceed $51,800, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reeves.
Oklahoma Department of Transportation will be conducting a overlay project as stated from Main Street to 17th Street on Muskogee. What they're asking us to do is improve identified sidewalks and at the intersections and curbs for to be ADA compliant. And this is the design services that we need to be able to do the work. Staff does recommend approval, and happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Reeves, as I'm not mistaken, this will be the first resurfacing project in that part of Muskogee in quite some time.
Yes, sir. It goes from Main Street all the way to the end of 17th where the concrete starts.
And we are excited that ODOT is even considering us to be on the list to have this type of project done. So thank you for your efforts, as well as Mr. Stewart and those members of ODOT. Any discussion on this item?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. The city manager, Sweezy, has advised that we are striking item number 20. Is that correct?
Yes.
We are striking number 20 from the agenda. Item number 21.
Consider approval to purchase replacement time clocks for our ExecuTime system from Tyler Technologies in an amount not to exceed the budgeted amount of $53,658, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Cummings.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. This is an item that I had actually intended to include on my previous agenda item that was on consent. But this is to replace our time clocks. They have reached end of life, end of support. So any problems we have with them, we are unable to get them fixed. So this replaces our entire fleet of time clocks with newer time clocks that should work well for us for several years and going on.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Any questions, or what's the pleasure of the body?
Move for approval.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second on item number 21. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 22.
Discuss and take action to develop a plan to combat graffiti within the corporate limits of the city.
Mr. Reynolds.
This is my agenda item. As you know, last week I was recognized to come up after the meeting and talk about a little bit of the graffiti problems that we've had downtown. I would just hoping we might discuss this a little bit more. If we're not in a position with some of our different departments to maybe address this quickly, we might consider looking at a third party or some type of a janitorial crew or someone who is more readily equipped to go out and address this quickly. In speaking with Roy, he did point out some of the problems that we don't own all the properties, or they're not all in the county or the city's control. So we would need to probably work with Roy to get some type of a release so we can quickly reach out to some of these property owners and work on them together. For us to find some of these buildings that are vandalized that we don't have control of or don't have the ability to go on the property, we need to speak with them, ask them to work with us quickly, and then either help them get the tools or the necessary people to address that themselves, or possibly help them. In reality, it's not the city's expense or whatever to do that, but I do see this as a community problem where it can hurt our pride of ownership issues as we're trying to build up pride of ownership where others join in and help push each other forward. Something like unaddressed graffiti can take us backwards quickly if we just leave it there. So I would like to address that. If anyone else has any ideas, I'm open. to anything. I'll be glad to volunteer and go around and help do whatever we can. I just see that as something really important that we need to stay on top of.
Councilor Reynolds, I may be paraphrasing you, so please correct me, but I think it's appropriate to give direction to staff to come up with a solution, come up with a mechanism to contact those affected property owners, and then report back to council with what those solutions may be in terms of contracting out with a third-party service or organizing a more community-type event to have the graffiti removed.
Second.
Mr. Tucker, I don't think we need a motion on
No,
the
you
direction of staff. And you'll come back and let us know when, about
You want me to develop the plan? That should be a city manager function.
city manager function. So Ms. Swayze, 30 days, is that enough time?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm happy to prepare the necessary releases, but the plan itself requires dealing with employees that are under the manager's control, not mine.
Mr. Reynolds?
And I will just point out it's a time is of the essence. The longer we go between addressing it, the more that gets up there, the more people see us not acting quickly to do that.
So no later than 30 days.
The city staff can immediately address the graffiti on city-owned property. So we've got proper manpower to address those things on traffic control boxes or areas that the city owns. And then we would ask publicly that any private property owners who have had vandalism anytime throughout the year, they can make a report to the police for property damage so that we can start investigations a little more closely.
Alex and Roy, might I ask, we're talking about cleanup, but can we also address trying to stop it, prevention programs? I don't know if there's other cities that have any type of programs downtown. Definitely we want our police force to be, more aggressive and, possibly is there anything that we can draft up to where we would have some kind of enforcement from a council level for those who've been caught doing the graffiti?
Well, we already have an ordinance that prohibits damage to someone else's property. And so we can certainly look at any other ordinances that cities do, but it's pretty standard because this is a problem that is well established by much larger cities. And when we created our Code of Criminal Ordinances, which included these, we included things like graffiti, damaging other property, and things of that nature. So those are already in effect.
Okay.
And so I know that Chief Teehee mentioned this morning in one of our meetings about this particular issue, and I think he had some additional information that this problem was much more widespread than just Muskogee, but that would be up to him to present on that.
We'll hear that another night. But I think one of the things that Deputy Mayor might also want to add is that we need the technology in place that can assist our law enforcement officers so that they can monitor. Other cities in their downtown areas have camera systems in place that monitor their areas 24/7. And that may be something that we want to consider as well, adding to that request as a body. If the body wishes to hear Chief Teehee, we can. I don't know if we need to or not.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what he got to say.
I would too.
Yeah,
Please.
come on, give us the information.
I told you I was going to do that, Johnny.
That's all right. There's really not a whole lot to say. We work on enforcement. We've got a lot of different things with short manpower, so it's not a priority, unfortunately. My guys do know. We've put emails out, and we've also gotten on social media trying to track down other places. We found out that it's in Tulsa, other areas of southeastern Oklahoma. So it's not that particular, whatever it is not exclusive to Muskogee. Obviously, it would make it easier if it was, but the fact that it's other places, we have not gotten any leads whatsoever on the whereabouts, the meanings, or whether it's gang related or what it is. So, but I've got CROs or SIU guys are all working that when they get an opportunity, and through social media trying to track down what it means, and we've gotten absolutely nothing in ever since last Monday. So I don't know what the answer is right now, other than, if we catch somebody with a can of spray paint, we'll charge them with all of it. I don't know. We'll try what we can, but had to have no luck in the last week.
And Chief, you do have an online reporting system if somebody witnesses something, and you also have the is it 682 COPS where you can call and report?
You just call, I mean, you can call 911, we'll come take a report.
Okay.
And that was the other thing we mentioned this morning in staff is we've had no victims. There's no one made a report on it yet. So that's part of our issue as well, is we're asking our officers to go out and try to pursue something that we don't even have a report on yet. So that would help as well as if we can track down. And a lot of these, you know, the downtown buildings, I don't know who owns them as well. So hopefully Mr. Tucker has some luck as far as who they belong to, so we can track down at least to get in a report. Because as of this morning, I texted just a little bit ago at the close of business, we have no vandalism reports from any entity or business.
Further questions for Chief Teehee while he's at the microphone?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Teehee.
Thank
you. Do we have direction to staff? Are we all clear on Mr. Reynolds' presentation on tonight, what we need to do going forward from the city attorney's office and the city manager's office?
Yep.
Yes.
Alex? Okay, thank you. We have 2 citizens signed to speak to us tonight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before they speak, could I say something, one more thing?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Before I leave?
Yes.
I just want to thank everyone again for coming out tonight, and also didn't acknowledge Ms. Pauline Boyati Craig's husband, Mr. Samuel Craig. Thank you for coming, sir, with your wife. And again, thank everybody. And Reverend Walker, thank you so much from Rayfield Baptist Church. I know Reverend Walker said, no, don't do that. But thank you again for coming. And council and mayor, thank you all for the kind words. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Mayor. But you know what I told you the other day, Mayor? You remember what I told you? One thing about me and the mayor, we had little differences, but one thing we all got in common now, we got that hot chocolate in common. And also, Ms. Reisner back there at the newspaper, I have a good relationship with people. And I'd like to thank her for coming up here tonight, and John Cruz and Miss Buffington. Just everybody out there in the audience. I'm tired. I know y'all tired of me calling names, but you know when people show up, people do not, like Reverend Walker always say, people do not have to be kind and nice to you. But when they came through that door tonight, my soul is full. Even though this is my last night with you, my soul is full. And I appreciate working with every last one of y'all. We might have had our debates up here, but I'm going to miss you. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Van. We have 2 citizens signed to speak to us tonight. Ms. Pat Cassica, if you'll come to the microphone and give us your name and your address, you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, you know I'm going to request 5 minutes to speak.
That's up to the council.
I'll make a motion that we give her 5 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to extend the time to 5 minutes. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Ms. Cassica, give us your name and your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
My name is Patricia Cassica, and I live at 5003 Oklahoma. Since time immemorial, the Native Americans of North America, aka the First Nations people, the indigenous, the original stewards of this land, entered into a covenant with the Great Spirit. Today, some know him as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This covenant was a gift to the people, and it can never be terminated. It is in effect today, just as it was then. Throughout the generations, many cultures have attempted to take the land from us. However, every attempt failed. Before statehood, Oklahoma was called Indian Territory. Oklahoma means home of the red man. One could even say that not even a weed or a blade of grass could have survived on this land, in which the U.S. government forcibly removed tribes from their homelands, and they were dumped onto a land that no one wanted. Jehovah remembered the people, and through his covenant restored the land. The rains came, the grasslands returned, and the game became plentiful. The tribes prospered, and even more so when oil and natural gas was discovered. Some tribes, like the Osage, became very wealthy, and many were swindled and murdered for their land. Today, the native people are still in a battle to protect their lands. About half of Oklahoma is reservation land, and people from other states and countries, including people in Oklahoma, want this land to grow marijuana. 2 of the largest tribes in Oklahoma, which I am members of, the Cherokee Nation and the Muskogee Creek Nations, are solicited for business deals involving marijuana because of the land. Since it is illegal to grow marijuana on tribal lands, it hasn't stopped opportunists from approaching the tribes regarding marijuana grow. This feverish rush into the marijuana business has now put Muskogee in the spotlight as one of the fastest growing, or possibly the fastest growing city in the state for marijuana grow. The staff at the City Council have worked relentlessly to rezone commercial properties and sell them to marijuana buyers as quickly as possible. However, there's something very important that City Council has forgotten. God's covenant is still in effect on behalf of the Native American people. Just because the City of Muskogee owns property within reservation boundaries does not mean they are the final, or you are the final authority on how this land is to be used. Non-natives do not seem to have the same perspective as tribes about land, because to some it is just property with a dollar sign attached. Some Native people may have this same viewpoint, but many do not. Traditionally speaking, land is a living, breathing entity that needs the same things as human beings do to survive: water, sunlight, and nourishment. This is why the Native people honor the land, and this is why God will keep his covenant with us. So what happens next with land or property that involves marijuana in Muskogee and Oklahoma? From a Christian perspective, I don't believe that Jehovah is very pleased with what's happening in this situation. Recent events occurring in Muskogee illustrate this fact. First, there was major flooding, and Muskogee was declared a disaster area. Immediately following the floods, extreme heat came and drought conditions occurred. Right after that, there was a bomb threat in the mayor's neighborhood, and several fires in the city displaced many of Muskogee residents. Currently in Oklahoma, a moratorium on marijuana grow was imposed on August 1st, but was extended to August the 26th. I believe that this was divine intervention for some Muskogee citizens who are battling rezoning issues, and I am one of those. And of course, God's covenant with the Native people will intervene in some way. Citizens are waking up, but many more pastors, teachers, parents, and young people need to come to City Hall and stand right here where I'm standing and tell this council that Muskogee is at risk for more crimes on the street, experimentation of drugs by children, and more poverty, because you guys are not getting the message that there are consequences to human lives when it comes to putting drugs first. In reality, it could be your child, your promising young student, or a future minister that inadvertently experiences the devastating effects of marijuana. And I also meant to include our tribal leaders in this as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cassica. The next resident having signed to speak up to us tonight is Nina Ground. I'm going to ask that you come to the microphone and give us your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
I'd like to request 5 minutes if I could, because I was told I would get 5 minutes.
That's up to the body.
Make a motion, she get 5 minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, Ms. Ground, if you give us your name and your address, you'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm a new resident, and by way of introduction, I am Nina Ground. I reside at 2614 Boston Street, down by the dead end down there, and I moved here recently from Nashville, Tennessee. I spent 40 years in the entertainment business, with the sides in the automobile industry and the financial industry. I attended 2 colleges and ended up with a journeyman electrician designation. For several years, for almost 20 actually, I've been a very valued member of a community club up in Nashville, Tennessee, one of the biggest, and I served on the board of that community club. I serve with TEMA, which is Tennessee Emergency Management. I'm credentialed in emergency response in city safety. For residents, I specialize in swift water rescue, and in DART, which is Disaster Animal Response Team. I am deeply spiritual, but I am not religious, so I feel like Daddy God compelled me to be here tonight. I don't do tarot cards or anything like that, but I do have visual and contact with things that just aren't visual and contactable by most people. So I like to tell you a little bit about myself because of that. The 40 years in entertainment was very much an experience because I worked in New York and LA. If you know anything about entertainment and about what's going on right now, there's a lot of things and places where I've been from Europe, Canada, and United States that most of you will never hear about until what recently is being exposed. Ultimately, why I came here tonight, because I've had a bad experience moving to Muskogee when I planned to have a wonderful experience and buy and flip some houses. I understand that the council works very hard and that you serve the people, but for some reason I don't think you're listening to the people's needs. Because I do trade, I do follow the money, so obviously I've been following the money here because of my deep concerns to see where the spendings are going. My first thing that I noticed that we're not addressing public safety and services. I believe that city people that work for the city are ambassadors to our city, and I've only met a few people that I highly recommend to continue in their position, and I met some that we don't really show much pride in having here, and many of them don't live in Muskogee either. The city employees' morale, from some I've talked to, seems to be looked at to some degree so that we have a good morale for good productivity and a good team and a good workforce. And residents need to know their value as well and what they do. I don't think everybody's really aware of how hard people work and what they do commit to doing. And they have families and where they're dealing with reality just like the rest of us. I also wondered where the vocational and technical training has been for some of these employees. It seems to lack there because some of the morale of the people I talked to was very low. I'm also witnessing children raising themselves in this community, and that's a big heartbreak since I've been in a STEM program for years in Nashville with the high school students. We have no way for them to join in any recreational jobs or high school jobs. We have no job training or introduction to career training during the summer. They're kind of on their own and on the streets. Now, I did open up something for the children, but then there's been activities that make me worry about getting arrested for no reason other than something that would be made up or manifested by children. I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm here to introduce myself and tell you I want to work closely with your council people and with the city. I think I have a lot of great ideas and experience from traveling so much and being in a city that grew too rapidly and created a lot of problems for itself. Muskogee is on a plantation where its history is rich and deep. It's got awesome people here working for them. Some people have been here longer than others, which may need change. It may not. I don't know the deepness of all that. But I think that the residents here are hoping that you will hear them and that their hearts are in the right place and they'd like to see a more positive outcome that benefits them, including me as a resident here, because I've had very poor hospitality. I've had a lot of confusion. I've had a lot of things happen that wouldn't necessarily need to happen to a new resident. We need hospitality to make people feel welcome. That's all I came to say, and I thank you all for serving, and especially for our police and our fire departments and our emergency response teams. They are incredible people here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Yeah.
Item number 24.
Fresh air.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local Number 2465, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
We will now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, we will now convene into executive session. All of those who are now party to the executive session items, we ask that you excuse yourself from the chamber at this time. Executive session, roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Mr. Tucker.
Item 24A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, Local Number 2465. After being briefed on the status of those ongoing negotiations, no action is necessary at this time. Item 24B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the council again convened an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57. After being briefed again on the status of those ongoing negotiations, no action is necessary at this time. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. That will conclude that meeting. We'll order the special call meeting for the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority for August 8, 2022. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Item number 1.
Consider approval of minutes of July 18th, 2022, or take other necessary action.
We have the minutes in our packets on today. Do we have any revisions or a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor, Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 2.
Discuss and take action to make a one-time salary adjustment for employees of the authority in the same amount granted to non-uniform employees of the city in July 2022 from the dedicated sales tax established by ordinance number 3670-A.
This is my agenda item, members of the council. For those of us who are aware, the employees of the Muskogee Civic Center are now under the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, but prior to that, they were all city employees. City employees had just received their sales tax stipends, which did not include the Civic Center employees who were previously city employees. And my motion would be that we make provision for those employees to receive the same.
Can I make a comment, Mayor?
Yes,
This is for non-probationary employees. If
for
you wanna
non-probationary
match city
employees.
employees.
Motion as amended for non-probationary employees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 2. Further discussion. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 3.
Pursuant to Section 307B1, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the appointment of an interim general manager, including terms and conditions of employment, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to convene an executive session. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout. Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. We will now convene into executive session. Those not party to the session, please excuse yourselves at this time. We will now reconvene from executive session. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Mr. Tucker.
Item 3, pursuant to Section 307B1, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the authority did convene an executive session to discuss the appointment of an interim general manager. After the discussion, I think an appropriate motion would be to move approval to grant authority to the chairman to exercise the necessary duties of a general manager upon consent of the executive committee until such time as a general manager is appointed. There should be no salary that comes with those additional duties.
Do we have a motion to that effect?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, before we adjourn the meeting, let me take this opportunity to thank our audiovisual person, Diana Wilson, who works so hard and so patient with us from week to week. Ma'am, we appreciate your efforts and applaud everything you do. Thank you for making Muskogee great. We are adjourned.